My brother is blocking me from his life because of a lie his wife made up about me.
Block her.
There you have it. Just block her. I, female 38, am no longer in contact with my brother, male 30. I will refer to him as E, Elliot, and his now wife, female 36, whom I will refer to as S, Sally. They met and started seeing each other around 6 years ago. They met in a bar and he introduced Sally to the family not long after. Initially, we got along well. And by the way, this comes from you, initial meet 8729. If you want to submit your own stories, go to ROK Storytime subreddit. So, being 8 years older than Elliot, I have always had a maternal instinct toward him. I had longed for a sibling for many years before he arrived. And when I had finally had a brother, I wanted to do everything for him, bathing, changing, feeding, playing with him, and when we were older, babysitting. I did it all. I adored him. We grew up very close despite the age gap, and he would often run things by me, looking for advice as he grew older. The first time the family met Sally, I welcomed her with open arms and made a conscious effort to find common ground with her. I genuinely liked her. My aunt and uncle later said they found it strange that a woman in her 30s with her own home, mortgage, car, and a decent job wouldn't entertain the idea of a relationship with a 24-year-old man living at home with his mother with no driver's license, no car, and a minimum wage part-time job. So I honestly hadn't considered this, but it made me a little wary. A few months later, Elliot and Sally announced that they were expecting a baby together. This is when other family members began speculating that Sally was using him to have a baby. I thought this was slightly unfair because I liked her, but this accusation stayed in the back of my mind. From then on, I was very much looking out for signs of something being out of place. They had a beautiful baby boy, and we were all delighted. I was thrilled to be an aunt for the first time, and we made lots of trips to visit them in Sally's home, as Elliot had since moved in with her about an hour's drive away. For context that would be relevant later, I have 3 boys myself who are much older than Elliot and Sally's baby, as I had my children when I was very young. My boys have always had a wonderful relationship with Elliot, and we were super excited to have a baby cousin. A few months later, after their baby's arrival, Elliot and Sally were typical tired first-time parents. Sally had arranged to go to a spa day with some girlfriends for much-needed R&R, and Elliot asked if he could bring the baby over to my place and spend the day there, as he had never been left alone all day with the baby before. I was super excited to have the day with my nephew, and my boys were thrilled to spend time with their uncle and cousin. Elliot arrived and brought the baby inside. The baby was very unsettled, and Elliot mentioned that he had been like this for several days and that he and Sally were unsure why. Being a mother of 3 myself, I noticed straight away that the baby was teething, dribbling, red cheeks, runny, nappy, crying. I told Elliot what I thought and suggested some infant pain relief suitable for the baby's age. I happened to have some in the cupboard and asked if he would like to try it. He was unsure and wanted to run it by Sally first. He began trying to call and text her, but wasn't getting a response due to her being on a spa day, having treatments, and not having her phone on her. After several hours, Elliot said he wanted to try the infant pain relief. We gave it to the baby, and within 20 minutes, he was settled and smiling.
Yay.
The baby got a spa day. Elliot was so happy because his baby was no longer in pain, and we had a lovely time playing with him before he went for a nap. This is when Sally returned Elliot's calls and began freaking out about the idea of him being given medicine. Elliot tried to explain that it was appropriate for his age, that it had worked, and that the baby was now happy and settled. Sally was still angry, and Elliot began to worry because he had upset her. Sally later came by to collect Elliot and the baby and was visibly fuming with both of us. About an hour later, I received a text from Elliot saying that I had no right to give his baby medicine.
Come on.
That Sally was upset and that she wanted me to apologize. So I spoke with Sally and smoothed things over. Although she was clearly still unhappy, we moved on. So a short time after this, I came across a Facebook post created by Sally with photos of their son. Okay, I'm nervous where this is going. He looked just like an old photo I had of my brother at around the same age. I took a picture of the photo I had and commented saying how alike they were. Next thing I knew, I could no longer access Sally's profile. I had been blocked. I then received a message from Elliot asking me to apologize to Sally for my comment. I was baffled and asked him what he meant. He explained that one of Sally's friends had commented before me saying how the baby looked like Sally, and that my comment and photograph were seen as challenging Sally's friend's opinion.
Presumably the baby looks like both of them.
Yeah.
They're both their parents.
You know, I feel like that's such a common thing. You're going to a party and it's like, oh my God, he has your eyes. He has your nose.
Yeah.
Sally was very upset. I told my brother that I would not be apologizing, that I'd done nothing wrong, and that I was entitled to my opinion.
Yeah,
And it's also a compliment. At the time, I was packing to go away on a holiday on my own with 3 kids, and I was super busy, so I didn't have time for unnecessary drama. I went away on holiday and didn't think any more of it, expecting everything to blow over while we were away. It didn't. We later met up as a family for my aunt's birthday meal at a restaurant. My aunt texted me and my brother in advance, explaining that she wanted the family to be together and that she did not want any issues at the meal. She said that if we did not want to speak to one another, that was totally fine, so long as no one was nasty or caused a scene. I arrived with my 3 children and saw Elliot and Sally already there with their baby. They did not make eye contact with me, so I took their lead and found a seat at the opposite end of the table. My boys went over to them to say hello before coming back to sit near me. The meal arrived and everything seemed to be going well. Toward the end of the evening, the baby became restless, so they took him out of his pushchair. We all took turns holding him, passing him along the table for cuddles, or bouncing him on our knees. I took my turn, enjoyed some time with my nephew, and managed to get a photo of myself with him. Now a fond memory for me.
Ooh, they're going to hate that. They're going to be like, how dare you take a photo of our child?
Yeah. After the meal, once we were back home, I got another text from my brother. What do you think he's going to be mad about?
He's going to say, I can't believe that you took a photo of our child without our permission.
After the meal, once we were back home, I got another text from my brother complaining that I had the opposite, ignored their baby. I told him that this was not true and sent him the photo of the baby on my knee. He responded by asking me to delete the photo.
Chicken meat.
As I did not have permission to photograph his son.
Got it. Nailed it. Nailed it.
But how is he mad at both? He's like,
no, but I think that was
he's
like
just bad, bro.
No, he was like, how dare you ignore my child? And OP was like, I didn't. Here's proof. And he's like, gotcha.
All right. The month after this incident, it was my brother's birthday, and my mom, myself, and my boys were invited over to the house for a takeaway. I saw this as an olive branch and decided it would be a good idea to go and try to clear the air. Don't look at the baby, but don't ignore the baby. Yeah. But don't take a photo of the baby, but make sure you do photograph the baby. But if the baby is in pain, make sure to help it. But if you help it wrong, you're in the wrong.
It's all about balance.
And that's called motherhood.
When we arrived, Elliot answered the door and told us that Sally was upstairs with a friend and that she would be down a bit later. He gave us the takeaway menu and left us alone downstairs while he went upstairs with Sally and her friend. It was weird, and there was definitely an atmosphere. We looked through the menu and decided what we wanted to order. My brother came back down sometime later and said, "How dare you order something?" and ordered the food, deciding to pick it up rather than having it delivered since it was only a 10-minute walk away. My eldest son asked if he could go with my brother to collect the food, and they both set off together, leaving myself, me mom, and my 2 younger brothers on our own downstairs since Sally still hadn't come downstairs. We went into the kitchen to prepare plates, glasses, and cutlery for when Elliot and my son returned with the food. When they arrived, Sally and her friend came into the kitchen to plate up their food while we were plating up ours. Neither of them said anything to any of us, and it was really awkward. I asked my brother where he would like us to sit to eat because there was a small table in the kitchen big enough to seat 4 people, but there were 8 of us. He told us to go and sit in the living room, so we did. My mom, my 3 boys, and I sat with our food on our laps, and my brother joined us, but Sally and her friend remained in the kitchen. After we finished eating, I made our excuses and left because the atmosphere was too uncomfortable to bear. When we got home, I received a message from my brother saying that Sally had told him that while he and my son were out collecting the food, she had came downstairs and said hello to me, and that I had ignored her.
She was upstairs the whole time.
No, but then she came.
And went directly to the kitchen.
And then said specifically didn't say anything. So she lied.
Man.
I responded telling him this was untrue and then called my mom to clarify that I hadn't gotten it wrong. I was seriously starting to doubt my own sanity at this point. My mom agreed with me and called my brother to tell him that what Sally was saying was untrue. He told her that he believed Sally, that her friend was backing her up, and that Sally was not a liar, but my mom called me back and said there wasn't much more she could do because she was worried that if she kept telling Elliot that Sally was lying, she might not be able to have contact with her grandson.
Okay, but what about OP's children? I mean, it just seems like she's like, oh yeah, OP will, let us walk all over her. So it doesn't matter if I don't defend her.
You could only say so much to be like, this didn't happen. And then at some point, you're just gonna be hurting the relationship. And as a mother, like, what else can you do?
That's frustrating, though.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. This whole situation is very frustrating. Then I received a message from Elliot saying that I was no longer allowed any contact with my nephew.
That's ridiculous.
This is so sad, dude. A few days later, I had an email from my dad who had up until this point not been too involved in the situation. He and my mom divorced over 20 years ago and is not local to the rest of the family. He and I are close, and he wanted to give me fair warning of the storm that was brewing. It could brew even more. He forwarded me a letter that Sally had emailed to the entire family. Dude, dad's looking out for OP. Mom, dad, auntie, uncle, and grandma, a 4-page Word document listing everything that I had supposedly done wrong to herself, Elliot, and their baby. And they're all lies, according to OP.
And they're all lies.
All from the perspective of a lunatic. I called each of my family members and asked them what they thought of the email. They all said they would be standing by me, but did not want to be the one to respond to defend me, as they were all concerned about their relationship with Elliot and the baby. She had clearly been threatening everyone with this prospect of not being involved in the baby's life should anyone challenge her. Yeah, at that point, as a family, I would be like, no. As OP, I would expect that I don't be upset if my family isn't standing up. And out of fear of them being kicked out, they're just going to be complicit in me being mislabeled, lied about, and kicked out of a relationship with my nephew. I would be furious at my family.
Me too.
My dad, therefore, took the lead. Shout out, Dad. And replied on behalf of the whole family, saying that this would not be tolerated. No one had a response to this. About a month later, Elliot and Sally sent out wedding invitations. They had gotten engaged. Damn, that sucks. The whole family was invited, including my children, all except me and my dad. You're going to invite the children and not their own freaking mom? I replied on behalf of my children, stating they would not be attending. But this was really difficult because they were old enough to know that they had been invited and were missing out. So my mom offered to take them with her, but I declined. I felt enough was enough. This was the final straw. The wedding day came and went. My mom, auntie, uncle, and grandma attended. I wonder if there was any effort on OP's end to, like, message the brother and sit, or like call him or have a private conversation and be like, I understand this is sensitive because, you know, you support your partner as you should. Yeah. But like, none of this is true. I love you. I want to have a relationship with you. And yet it seems anything I do, I'm made to be the villain.
Well, it seems like in the past, at least, it seems like I think OP said something along the lines of, yeah, like I told him that wasn't true or that wasn't happened.
Yeah.
And then just keeps getting blocked on things.
So on my brother's birthday after the wedding, I sent him a card with a note inside telling him that although a lot had happened, I still wanted to be his sister and wanted a relationship with my nephew. That's sweet. I suggested that maybe we could meet up and talk. I also mentioned that if Sally apologized for sending the entire family lies about me, I would move on and be civil towards her. I hope we could all have some kind of relationship. I received a text from Elliot that very same day. What do you think he said?
How dare you not come to my wedding?
Sally said she invited you and begged you to come.
And you didn't come to my wedding?
Yeah. I received a text from Elliot that very same day. He explained that Sally was heavily pregnant and that she found my note so upsetting that he was concerned for the health of both her and the baby.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't. He said if anything happened to her or the baby, it would all be my fault. Ugh. I also received text messages from Sally's siblings telling me I was bullying a pregnant woman and that stress would cause serious problems, which they would hold me accountable for.
Oh, he's not even talking to them.
Yeah, it's like, it's not for you, Sally. This is not a message for you. I was then blocked on all apps. I was glad because I did not want any further communication with any of them. At this point, there's nothing you could do. And you just have to send a private conversation to your brother, or a private message to your brother, and for family of his wife to be messaging you, putting the health of a pregnant woman on your hands.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, okay. Like, I
just can't imagine
here.
The family like continuing to be okay with this behavior.
I've since heard through my mom that they have had another baby boy and that both Sally and the baby are doing well. Fast forward to the present day, my mom is getting older and has realized that someday she will no longer be here. She wants my brother and me to get along, not only for her own happiness and peace of mind, but for logistical reasons like organizing funeral arrangements and dividing assets after she is gone. I have agreed to meet Elliot, not Sally, but he will not agree to meet me. The rest of the family says that someone has to make the first move and that I should reach out to my brother despite being blocked on all routes of communication. And if you never want to be blocked, come listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime.
There you go. Never be blocked.
I feel as though I've done enough, and I am done. But on the other hand, I really want my mom to be happy. I completely understand where she is coming from, because it would unalive me if my own children no longer spoke to one another. What should I do? I feel as though every time I try to resolve this issue, it just makes things worse. And I always seem to be blamed for causing upset just by trying to make contact. Should I be the one to make the next move for my mom, or should I just let it be? Also, am I the a-hole in this situation? Should I be the one apologizing? Have I missed something? It seems like I've missed something, because I don't understand
What you've done wrong and
any of Elliot or
turn.
Sally's side.
You're just being scapegoated because I think that for some reason your sister-in-law is jealous of you.
Yeah, there's something that
Yeah.
she's furious about and that she's resenting you for, and
And she
she's turning
blames you.
every situation into.
She's trying to isolate not
We
only
don't
your
know.
brother from you, but you from your family.
Yeah. So on OP's end, I don't know what you can do. I think you could try to do something. It seems like you've tried to already reach out, and
Yeah.
you got blamed for the for the ill health of a pregnant woman. And I wouldn't put it against you if you were like, I can't do anything here.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to reach out, I think that would be brave, and I think that you would just have to be okay with the consequences of, Sally like coming at you again. It's up to you. Like I would say both of those make sense.
I think I'm on the side of like reaching out to the family members and being like, hey.
To what family members?
Well, I think you can start with your mom because you already know your dad is on your side, and so for your
What are the
mom,
family members gonna do?
just stand up for you. Like I understand that you might lose access to the nephew, but if everyone stands up, I mean,
Yeah. I like this course of action.
yeah,
Of everyone standing up and
and
reaching
saying,
out
hey, this
to
is not
Elliot
okay behavior.
and be like, "What the hell,
Yeah,
dude?"
what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good course of action.
Yeah.
It seems like anything OP does doesn't work out,
Yeah,
and so the whole family member, like,
hopefully,
Elliot, if Sally was like, "You can't be friends, you can't be in relationship with any of your family members," he would be like, "Okay,
hopefully
let me actually think this
that.
through first."
Mhm.
So that's a good idea, Sophia.
Thank you.